Hello, you are listening to the Childcare Director's Chair podcast. Your host, Erica Saccoccio, invites you to join her community of passionate and inspiring leaders in the ECE field, where she discusses, reflects, and shares the best ways to invest in our children, families, teachers, and community. Because after all, we know they are the heartbeat of any successful program.
Hey guys, I've got good and bad news. The good news is if you're a teacher like me, you get very excited about the start of a new school year. I'm always excited to see what new children are joining our program, what new families are starting our program, if we have new colleagues that are joining our program. I get so excited about this time of year. One of my favorite things to do of all time as a childcare owner is setting up new classroom spaces. So I want to talk about that today in our episode, Classroom Makeover Magic. We're going to talk about transforming spaces for teachers, for kids, and for parents. Because I know if you're like me and you've been in a classroom for a long period of time, sometimes your classroom space can feel a little bit stale. Blah, right? Especially if you're in the same room year after year after year, right? So you want to turn that classroom into a dynamic hub of creativity and comfort. So join me, Erica Saccoccio, as we unlock the secrets to transforming your classrooms into spaces that are inspiring, that engage and impress. We're going to talk a little bit about how we can make every square foot count and create an environment where everyone, your kids, your parents, your teachers, and even you are excited to be at. So I love to spend time in my classrooms. I am very much happy that I am an on-site owner. If you are an on-site owner too, I'm going to say, woo, you know what I'm talking about. So let's talk about optimizing classroom layout. Redesign the classroom layout to make the most of available space and improve functionality. I can't tell you how much I hate when I go in a classroom and I'm subbing, maybe I'm covering lunch breaks and the room doesn't function right. I'm like, nope, this cannot be like this. We've got to make this work. How do we do that? So using flexible and modular furniture that can easily be arranged. That can help you create distinct zones for different activities, such as your reading corner, your group activity area, and creative play space. And make sure that there's ample space for movement in those high traffic areas and that we keep clutter away from doors and make sure that everything is accessible for students, but not being, overly intrusive of the different areas on either side. And it's important to incorporate storage solutions so that your teachers have places to put the items. So that is so important. When do you want to start this? Well, you want to start with beginning with planning and implementing layout changes during summer break or even before the school year starts to allow time for trial runs and adjustments. I can't tell you how many times I've moved a room around. I really loved it visually, but then something just didn't work correctly. So give yourself a little bit of time before the school year starts. If your school year has already started, no worries. You can do some trial and error. But, if you're like me and I've got 2 weeks left before the official start of our school year, we're going to take this time to take a look at the classroom layouts and switch it up. It also is a great way to let the kids feel like they're in a new environment, because some of your students may have started in the summer camp program with you, and now they'll stay in that same room for the school year. So switch it up, make it look different. It has to be fun and engaging. So that brings me to the second tip is creating a welcoming atmosphere. You want to make sure that you foster an inviting environment that makes children and parents feel comfortable and valued. So here's a great question. Do you even have a place for an adult to visit in your classroom? Or is every chair in the building toddler sized? So that's something you want to make sure that you have appropriate furniture for all ages and stages in your building. How do we create this welcoming atmosphere? Well, you want to make sure that you're using warm colors to decorate. You can also use themed decor to create a cheerful atmosphere. Set up cozy areas with soft seating, such as bean bags or floor cushions, where children can relax and read. Also, when you incorporate these types of soft items in your classroom, it does help reduce with sound and noise. So, just another side benefit. You want to display your children's artwork and class projects in a personalized space. Maybe, it has a frame that says Susie's artwork. You want to add elements that reflect the center's values and community spirit, such as a welcome sign or a family wall with photos of children and families. Now, for those of you who run high quality programs and you use tools like Eckers or Itters, you know that this is in there. This is best practice. That classroom should feel like community space. It's really not your classroom. It's everyone's classroom, right? And so it should be reflective of that. Now, I know we all love those museum schools and the pictures that they look like they came out of IKEA and no child has ever touched foot in the classroom, but those aren't realistic. So make sure that, again, your center is safe and it's clean and it should be welcoming, but it should look like a place where children are at. I can't say that enough. When you want to introduce these changes before the school year begins or during the first week to ensure a welcoming environment from day one. So if your school year has not started, maybe that's an action step that you take today. After you listen to this episode, take a walk through your center. Take a look at the classrooms. When was the last time that you moved them, or do they have the same kind of structure that they've had year after year? Talk to your teachers about how is the room functioning for them. Are there any areas of improvement? And again, not all these things cost money. A lot of times when you rotate things, you can even move furniture from one classroom to a different classroom. You don't even have to buy something new. Sometimes it's just a matter of switching things up. Like if you have a different sand table in one room than you do in a different room, maybe the teachers alternate. Right? So there's lots of different creative ways that you can do this with it costing you very little money, because I know your budgets are tight right now. Don't think that you have to run out and buy all new things. You don't. Take care of the things that you have, replenish them when they're needed, but ultimately you can create something that's fun, new, inspiring, without a whole big dig into your budget. You also want to enhance learning through design. Design classroom spaces that support various learning styles and stimulate curiosity. Stop making children sit down all day long. Every activity where they learn does not need to be at the table. I can't stress that enough. The more that the child is able to be hands-on and touch and manipulate, the better they're going to learn. So incorporate interactive learning stations with sensory and tactile materials, educational games, visual aids. Use bulletin boards and displays to highlight current topics like student achievements or relevant educational content. You can also create themed areas related to the curriculum that can be updated regularly to keep children engaged. You also want to make sure that you ensure that the classroom layout supports both independent work and collaborative work, because a lot of times you all forget about that independent work. And you have children that really strive and do much better when they have small group activity rather than large group activity, or are able to work on something independently on their own. So please don't forget that as an educator. And for those of you who set up these classrooms and purchase the materials that your teachers need and set up the equipment, a lot of times it's the owners and, maybe your maintenance team or whatever that are moving the furniture around. Make sure that you are seeking input from the teachers who are in that room all day long. When you implement the features such as that, it's part of an integral classroom setup. Make sure that you're refreshing them. And you can do it throughout the year. It doesn't only have to be at the beginning of the year. Maybe you're doing seasonal themes and maybe every quarter you're switching it up, because that's a great way to keep kids excited about learning. So speaking about excitement about learning, let's talk about technology, because technology is here to stay. So you want to integrate technology to enhance the teaching and learning experience. You can install interactive whiteboards or smart boards that can be used for a variety of educational activities. You can set up charging stations to ensure that there is Wi-Fi access available, and include tech-savvy, friendly furniture, such as desks that have built-in equipment for tablets, power outlets, and provide resources like tablets and laptops to integrate technology into daily lessons and activities to enhance learning. This is particularly important if you have school-age children, because most of them, when they come in after school, most of their homework now is done on a Chromebook. I'm going to say a laptop, but a Chromebook. So you want to make sure that you have some way that you can plan and execute tech upgrades during school breaks, during summer, to ensure that everything is working optimally and that you are able to have a state-of-the-art school year. And I can tell you from experience, when we were doing distance learning, and we had, we had about 80 after-school students that were at our program all day because our school wasn't open. Our school was open, but the elementary school wasn't open due to COVID. And our internet crashed, and we had to go with a much higher internet level program. So, because we had 80 Chromebooks on, and we certainly never had that amount of need for Wi-Fi. So my point is, as you can tell, I'm not the most tech savvy girl, so I'm probably not using the accurate words, but you get what I'm saying. So make sure that your Wi-Fi service can support all the devices that will be running off of that, especially if you're integrating a new computer program or some type of digital program at your center, which many programs are doing now, because let's face it, this is the future, right? So there's that, making sure that you're incorporating that technology. And let's not forget about my teachers. Make sure that when you are designing spaces that you are keeping in mind teacher-centered spaces. Design areas that will cater specifically to your teachers' needs, enhancing their efficiency and comfort. Create dedicated workstations and places for lesson planning and grading. Many of you are probably not doing grading, but maybe you're doing assessments. Complete with organizational tools, comfortable seating, adequate lighting. Provide storage solutions for teaching materials and personal items. Set up a small break area where teachers can unwind and recharge. And ensure that these spaces are well organized and designed to reduce clutter and improve productivity. I can tell you, we had a maintenance gentleman, his name was Doug, and one of our centers just doesn't have a lot of storage. So we built room dividers, and the room dividers had storage cabinets underneath, and the teachers were so happy. We had so many more places to store things and rotate materials out. So it was something that also served as a functional piece of furniture and also for storage. So that's just a little quick tip if you don't have a lot of places for storage. And you can make these adjustments really any time of the year, but you want to make sure that your teachers have, especially during the school year, have a place that is functional and organized for them to do lesson planning and prep. And as I had said before, and I was making the joke about places for people to sit, we've all been there. I've also had that mistake where I didn't have a lot of place for folks to sit. So you want to make sure that you're putting together parent-friendly areas. Develop spaces within the center that facilitate parent engagement and communication. How? Well, you can set up an information board or parent resource center with updates that you put up on a regular basis. You can add event calendars and contact info, and design a comfortable waiting area with seating and refreshments for parents during pickup and drop-off times. Include resources such as educational materials, newsletters, and feedback forms. Ensure that the spaces are welcoming and regularly updated with relevant information. You can implement these features before the school year starts and update them regularly throughout the year to keep parents informed and, most of all, involved. So I hope that some of these tips can really be something that you can use tomorrow at your childcare center. Take a look at the classrooms, walk around, talk with your staff. If you have children that are old enough, you could talk with them too and ask them, what do they want in their classroom? How do they learn? What do they like best? What materials they like best in the classroom? What ones don't they like? What isn't getting used? Maybe sometimes the children have used it so long that they've lost interest. Sometimes you can rotate that with another classroom, or maybe the materials are above or below their comprehension level. So just take a look at those areas and see how you can switch things up. So today I'd like to say thank you so much for always tuning in and being here for me. I appreciate it. And I hope that me being here for you is helpful in some way. If you haven't had the opportunity to subscribe to our YouTube channel, please do so today. If you haven't subscribed to us on your favorite listening platform, please do put on the notifications so you know when we have a new episode that comes out, which isn't too hard to figure out since we release them daily, Monday through Friday. So thank you again for tuning in. It's the small details that make a big impact on the success of your childcare business. And all of you make a big impact on my life. So thank you again for tuning in. Have a great day.
Well, all the cute little kiddos have been picked up and it's time to go home. And that'll do it for another episode of the Childcare Director's Chair. Please leave a review so Erica knows the information is helping you to manage and improve your childcare centers. Remember to subscribe to get the latest episode from Erica's Childcare Director's Chair.